Man, I tell you what, you were just telling me pre-show that you had a blizzard coming your way. There is some rumors that Atlanta could see like an ice storm up in their area. We won't see any ice storm, but I did do a fire last night, and I was huddling around it pretty good.
I bet.
Florida, it doesn't really get this cold. I think this might have set the record for me. I've only been here 10 years. I know we've gotten close to 36, 38. Last couple of nights we've been colder than that. So I think I've set the record for the coldest that I've been here. And I've been telling you that I'm leaving the windows open and everything like that down here. Because that's the thing, like it's always sunny in Florida here every time. You know what I mean? So therefore it's always going to warm up as long as you have, if you have your windows and the shades up and everything, the sun's going to get through, it's going to warm it up.
Yep.
So that's why it's not that big a deal that I keep it open. But either way, it's cold at night. You know what I mean? Like I said, we got 55 in the house.
That's still crazy that you keep it that cold and the windows open at night. Sun makes a huge difference during the day, but sun goes down.
Yeah, especially
it's 20 degrees colder.
These short days, man.
Exactly.
I mean? Got a lot of these shorter days. All right, Facts, Laws, One Truth. We got I'm Ox, he's Maish coming at you. Episode 20. We've got 20 of these under our belt now, if you can believe that. Football season's flying. Well, it's pretty much almost over now. Coming in, we got Wild Card Weekend here this weekend, and then only one 7 seed has ever won on Wild Card Weekend. Hasn't been around that long though, right?
I was gonna say, how many years have we been doing that though? 4.
So it's 2020, right?
Probably, and that was the Packers last year.
And that was the only 7 seed to win.
Yeah, I did not.
That was the only 7 seed to actually win. Was the 7 seed? Oh yeah, and then do you know who they beat?
Packers beat the Cowboys.
That's right, and they were the 2 seed. That's right.
Yeah, plus 7.5 was the line too.
Oh really?
Yep. Easiest bet of the playoffs last year, I feel like, because I definitely took the Packers plus 7. Did not see them winning, but the way they were coming on last year, and just the Cowboys kind of always shitting on their pants in the playoffs.
And in 2020, right? That's when it was, right?
Oh, we're talking 20. I was talking last year.
Oh, okay, I got you. I thought they've only won once. There's only been one 7 seed to win one time, and that was the Green Bay Packers.
Last year, though, right?
Oh, they did? Oh, I thought I saw 2020 when I pulled it up.
Really?
I thought so. I could have overlooked it.
I thought they were the 7 last year because then they went to San Francisco, who was the 1.
You're right. This format was introduced in 2020.
Yes. Okay.
I skimmed over 1. That's correct. Sorry.
You. Okay.
Yep. You're right. Yep. And then, and then here we are again, right? They're a 7 seed again. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So that could be pretty interesting to see how that. But anyway, we'll get into that in a second. One thing I did want to bring up is kind of, I guess, where you can find us. I do have real fancy smancy. I got my phone here. This is where you can find our podcast here. This is all of our episodes. Not that you would want to necessarily, I guess, look at our historical. I don't know if you guys want to see like old records and stuff, but if you want to find our podcast here, this is the podcast app on your iPhone, iOS is right there, but also you can find us on Spotify as well. But this is what it looks like. There's our pretty little fancy logo there, artwork, podcast artwork, and then here's a good log of our episodes that we've done. Currently on episode 20 throughout the year, so our most previous one was week 18. So I just wanted to show that off anyway. So what people have there with that, because that was on the phone. I was going to show like the Spotify thing, but it's the same idea. I think people would get
it. They get it. They get it.
Anyway, the video versions, you can do on Facebook, obviously YouTube. They usually posted same night usually that we record these. But if you want to find us on there, give us a follow. And the listeners that we do have, we don't have a ton, but really appreciate them tuning in and listening. I know a couple people have mentioned they tune in, listen, and see what we got. I don't know if some of your people look at the chapters that we have on YouTube, just kind of skip to some of the NFL games that we've covered. But, hey, well, there's somebody out there giving us a listen, My mom doesn't sports bet, so fortunately we've lost a listener.
Oh, no. I think my mom listens just to support.
Yeah, right. She probably puts it on in the background.
Yeah, 100% falls asleep. Yeah, but plays through it, gets through it.
Hey.
I was looking because I know we get way more people obviously on the podcast than we do YouTube, which makes sense. I think most people, that's how they take in nowadays is through podcasts, not as much on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I was looking on YouTube just to kind of interested, on the views, and our episode, I think on the college football quarterfinals or the first round, we 3 times more viewers than any other one.
Really?
So I don't know what happened that week. We get some randos, but
yeah,
maybe it just hit the search engine better. Because otherwise, it was pretty consistent, the number of viewers we were getting on YouTube.
Oh, wow. We have a bunch on week 10 of college football, week 9 NFL. I say a bunch. We had a comment. Even there. I don't even know what that was. What even that said. Or maybe it's not there. I don't know. Stephanie Chrysler?
Yeah, that's my mom.
Oh, okay. Dang it.
I figured she was the comment. Yeah.
Crap. All right. One of these days we'll bump up. But yeah, we had 32 views on that. Okay. Well, we'll get there one day. I guess we just got to have a breakthrough. Anyway, so yeah, you get our action URL codes here. I got us a brand new video background.
Oh,
yeah. I don't even
fancy.
know. Yeah, we're not tripping acid or anything. We're just trying to get something.
Be cooler
new.
If we were.
Yeah, that's right. That would look way cooler. Anyway, there's Joe _1B Pro. And then Alex is Alex _Mice. Follow us all our bets there. I do a lot of live bets. I put them on there, and my best bets have not been going well. But I had that really cool parlay there, the week 18 with the Bengals and the Steelers. Right, George Pickens under his yard. He had 0 against the Bengals. Can you believe that, George Pickens?
Yeah, a ton of drops.
Yep, ton of drops, and then I went under attempts for Russell Wilson. So,
okay. Very nice.
Anyway, that kind of saved the day there, even though the best bets were kind of ratchet. Anyway, one thing I did want to bring up, and I wanted to get your opinion on how, I guess just how awesome this could be, or how funny, like Circa Millions. If you don't know much about like the Circa Millions, basically it's just picking games against the spread for the NFL, right? For that specific one. The winning record was 60, 26, and 4. Like,
so good.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's just insane. But here's the funniest part. And I'm going to get I don't know of the pushes, so I may have missed the pushes here, but I think it was around the 4. It's basically the same. That person went 27, 61, and I guess 3 was the last place winner. The last place winner of the Circa Millions wins $100,000.
No shit.
I swear to God.
Wow.
But like, here's the thing. Like, let's say you join, you got to pick every game.
You pick 5 games because that record would indicate you 5 games a week. Yeah.
Even the NFL's that crazy. Trying to be that bad would be tough.
Right. If that was your strategy going in, like, oh, let's just win that 100,000, it's still just as hard. So you might as well go in trying to be your best, and then just hope you're either at your absolute best or your absolute worst.
So like, let's say you're getting like halfway point of the season, and you look at the standings and you're like near the bottom. Do you just keep doing what you're doing so you finish last?
I think so, yeah. Because again, if you start trying to then mix it up and being like, oh, I'm going to pick losers, like, just ride with whatever your thought process is, because it's working to get last. So keep it up.
I know. I just kind of made me laugh a little bit that the Circa. Well, obviously being that good against the spread is pretty incredible, but being that bad it's just a flop of the records. Essentially, it's also that bad. But I didn't know that they got paid out for last place.
No, I never would have thought a contest that big, because that's talked about like everywhere, right? The
yeah.
Circa Millions.
Yeah.
Like I know there's some fun shows on some podcasts I used to listen to, where they'll pay the top payer for the week, in the year, yeah. and then everybody, whoever comes in last that week, gets a little something.
Yep.
And I get that, because that's fun. You also have like a couple thousand people entering every week. But a contest that big, I would not have guessed they would reward the worst place.
Yeah. I mean, it's shit. Either way, I just thought that was interesting. The next thing I got is Circa Survivor, which is huge. It's grown so much over the years. There's that VSiN. They even did a documentary show about it, right? They followed around some of the dudes. One guy didn't even want to be shown. They did the whole documentary where it's dark light over his face. Can't see him. Like, I didn't get to watch it because I think you got to subscribe to them to see the show, but nonetheless, that's not where I'm going with this. Circa Survivor is the one where we tried to do it here a couple times on this show. We failed with it, but picking a team each week, right, to survive and make it to the end. The pot was over $14 million, I believe. I don't have the numbers in front of me by any stretch, but I was just hearing this. Anyway, there were 7 teams that won, right? So they got $1.5 million or whatever it may be, or something like that. And usually it's by teams, right? You got people that buy in, the pros, right? They got people that buy in with them. So it's teams of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or even more. And then if you do win, everybody splits it. Okay. Well, the team that won, one of the teams that won, and I'm kind of stealing the story from someone else, but it's so funny that I wanted to bring it by you because I'm sure you don't know it. The Vodka Johnny is the team that won. It's a group. It's a family. Vodka Johnny's the oldest brother. And by like week 5, he wanted out. He was like, I don't want to participate. I got other shit going on. I'm not going to be involved. I'm not going to be going. I don't know if they went to Circa to watch the games or not, but I'm just not going to be involved with this. I want out of it. Can I sell my shares to someone? Right. I want out. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we don't want you to sell some Joe. They bought him out. So the other 5 guys bought him out, and they went on to win $1.5 million at the end and be one of the 7 to win it.
I bet Johnny Vodka is drinking a lot of vodka after that. He's drowning himself in vodka right now.
I know. I
what
just thought that was insane that right around the beginning of the year, week 5, that you're like, you know what, I'm just not into this. Like, I just want out of it. And then you guys go in to win. And that's interesting. If you win Circa Survivor, you get a jacket, like the Masters. You get a jacket. You got to submit your, your measurements for the jacket to get that. So, anyway, it was just kind of interesting to see that my brother wanted to back out and they go on to win. I don't, do you still kick him, a little bit of cash, or do you just like, no, bro, we bought you out. Like, you're out.
Yeah, tough luck, dude. I'm sorry. You wanted out. We bought you out. Like, yeah. I mean, maybe you go buy him a beer, buy him vodka, I guess.
Especially in Vegas.
But that's, I mean, I don't know. You can't just fucking give handouts to people.
Yeah. And I don't, so in this next one, these, and I had put this on the script as well, DraftKings, the season props. So I don't have these on my book. And we do on Hard Rock, if you do, I've missed them. But the season props, so that means passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards for an individual player.
Okay, total season. Gotcha.
Yeah. There's one guy that he does it every year. He goes through every prop that DraftKings offers and bets the under. The unders were 56 and 30 this year.
Whoa.
Every single prop that he could find. And he said that none of them were worse than minus 115. He said the average was around minus 108, minus 110 for the under.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all know historically that hits, like, because people want to take the overs for one,
yes.
And 2, you have injuries. More and more so happening, it feels like, too. But when I look at those season-long unders, like, they're fun, but I don't want my money held up that long. But good for him.
I know. That's what's tough about any future, really.
Yep.
Right. But they went over some of the things on the show about how close, like Pickens only needed 25 yards to go over 925 or whatever he was at. And he had 0.
Oh,
like there was a lot of props that were right on. And that's a lot of bets in general too, right out there. But a lot of them that were close that were all under. You know what I mean?
Gosh, that is a very good record for the under.
Yeah. So anyway, he says he does it every year. He said this is the most. I don't know who this guy is. And even if I did, it wouldn't matter because I don't know him anyway. He said every year he does this, that guy, and he wins every year. The unders for season props in the NFL hit every year.
Wow.
So I guess I might keep a lookout on that. But like, I don't have the bankroll. Even if I did $5, even if I did $10, that's a lot of bets. I don't know. And that's a lot of money tied up all year. So you're waiting, I guess, for January, I guess, whatever. Probably right around now, they would confirm that the stats are correct and you would get paid out. I'm assuming probably Tuesday, Monday, probably.
Right. You got to have a fat bankroll to your point. Because even small bets, that's just, I mean, we're looking at close to 100 bets right there.
So we're doing it next year is what you're saying. We're going to have a podcast where we go through every.
And just take the unders.
The unders. Like CMC, that was an automatic.
Automatic. Yes, sir. I mean, and God, yeah, that's it. That's just, that is a wild stat.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, where we were right, jump right into that. You do have one, Panthers +8 versus the Falcons.
Hell yeah, go Panthers.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of people that bet the Panthers when Bryce Young kind of came back in. If you did, I think you did pretty decent. Here,
I feel like this is the one team I had not the one team, but one of the fewer teams I had a really good grip on this year because I faded them at the right times. It felt like I bet them at least at the back half of the season. Because the games where they got blown out, I had no nothing in them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one, and when we look at Week 18, I think everyone should probably know this now. But a lot of those numbers are inflated for those must-win games, right? So I felt like we were getting extra points on that too, because of that. Because Falcons have to win, so everyone's like, oh, they're going to come out and they're going to crush. No, you're dealing with fucking professional athletes that even if their team's out of it, they're playing for their next contract, all right? And they're playing for their pride. Whoever is on the field is going to play for their pride, and they're trying to get paid next year. So if you didn't know that already, just know that going ahead, those lines are going to be inflated on the Week 18. And Dave Canales, rookie head coach, he didn't want to quit. I don't think his job was necessarily on the line because of the way they did finish.
Yep.
But he doesn't want to get embarrassed either. So, anyways, yeah, that was a nice win there.
Yeah.
And then since I didn't have, because I had 3 best bets. One I did not put on here anywhere because it was a straight push. That was the Texans Titans over 37. It hit 37, so I did not include that. So just getting that out of the way.
Yeah, no worries. I got you. And the overhit on that Panthers Falcons game. Not a best bet for me.
Easy.
But yeah.
But you took it. I know you took it. And that was woof.
Keep
quick
whiffing.
hit.
Yeah, keep whiffing on that. But just picking the wrong one. But yes, anyway, yeah. The only time I guess the Panthers definitely kind of maybe if you want to go second half, later half of the season is when they were actually a favorite, right? Then they ended up losing that game where they were a favorite. They were -3 versus the Titans, was it?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like you're right. I feel like there was one game they were a favorite because it was crazy how long they hadn't been a favorite.
Correct.
For.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I cannot remember, man.
Yeah, it's okay. Not a big deal. It's the Panthers. We don't necessarily need to say on the Panthers are losing team. Where we were wrong, Mike Evans. That was going to be a tricky one. Every pro was saying it. Most of them were off of it. I got it at 91.5. Did bloated to over 100, which I was honestly contemplating. I don't like hedging, but I could have seen that being in that 10-yard pocket, but I just stayed away. 89 yards. And I texted you to make sure you were on the under of the 100, but you said you missed it. But 89 yards. So, but you know what was crazy? That was almost a dead in the water bet because he wasn't even close for a long 40 yards. I think is all he had. He wasn't even close for the longest time, and then the fourth quarter changed that.
Yeah, and then he even got to 89 yards with 30 seconds left, right? When the game was totally over, the team was just trying to get him one more catch because he was 4 yards away.
Yeah.
Got to 89. Everyone celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. See ya.
Yeah, so I knew, and I said it on this podcast too, that I knew it was going to be close, but I was banking on they would get him a catch and he would just go for a couple extra yards more.
Yep.
I guess he did 2 more extra yards, or whatever it was. I think you only need 85, I think. So he went for 4 more or so, than that. But I was just banking on that. I don't know. Anyway, I got caught there. And then the Cleveland Browns versus the Ravens under 42. Again, I texted bad beat right there on that. What was it, like a 60-yard run or something by Derrick Henry? I don't even know.
Yeah, that was a bad beat. Because it was with 2 minutes left when you're just trying to run the clock out. You already have a 16-point lead or whatever it was. I also think it was a bad beat for the Browns backers that had +20. Yeah, that sucked though. That sucked for you, dude. Definition of one.
I know. So I had 2 bad beats there, but that's sports betting. You're going to have a lot of those, and you'll probably have some. I've had the lucky wins as well. Chiefs +10.5 at Broncos, dude. They said in terms of performance, one guy, a pro that makes models, said that was the greatest graded game for a team beating another team all season. As in,
garbage.
The Broncos absolutely destroyed the Chiefs. It wasn't even close. As in grade wise, they were perfect.
Okay, I was at that game. That's a terrible take. Because let me tell you why. One, this is the definition of not a bad beat.
Yeah, well, yes, right. That's the opposite.
The opposite of not a bad beat.
Yes.
But no, dude, the Chiefs had Bo Nix would dump it off to a running back at the line of scrimmage, and the closest Chiefs defender was 12 yards away. The Broncos didn't have to do shit to have a perfect. So I do not say that as as close as you get. I mean, I guess maybe technically, but I mean, there were 19 starters out, I think I heard, for the Chiefs. They played absolutely nobody. They played the softest defense in the world. Whenever Bo Nix did attempt to throw it downfield, the guy had 5 yards separation because I don't know. I thought who I went to the game with, we were talking like this is the most uninspired football we've seen.
Yeah.
And my bet was like, oh, even the backups are going to come in and they're going to fight. And it was like they just didn't give a shit, dude. It's like they didn't practice all week. They just showed up because they had to show up.
Yep.
So I say garbage because it's like best grade, okay, or you were going against like the complete B squad that had no interest in being there anyways. So was it hard to have a perfect grade? I mean, I guess, but yeah.
I mean,
that's my take on it.
What Andy Reid's first loss is a double-digit dog. I know it's week 18, so does it matter? But that was a beat that, I've had him a lot this year. This has kind of been, this football season. I've had him a lot this year. A lot of just, my losses have just been absolutely destruction besides the two that we had there, Mike Evans and really the Ravens-Browns. But a lot of bad just destructions here. And there's another one. I was on it with you. So that's a where you were wrong, but I was wrong too. And the half point didn't matter. I had 10, you had 10.5.
Yeah. Not a great game to go to after all, too, just because it was like, this is just.
You had to choose week 18.
I know. Next year, I'm hoping the Chiefs play there like week 10 or something, so we know it'll be competitive.
I hope so too. Yeah, week 8. It would have been different if the Chiefs were battling for a first seed or something, which they were. Correct. Right? They had to win 2 out of the last 3, I believe, of what it was, right? So, and they already kind of did that. So.
Yes.
It didn't matter. Anyway, 33-30 for you, and 32-36 bring up the real here for me. That's okay. I do have. I don't know. It's gonna be one bet. But I got a best bet this weekend, so we'll try to keep it going with that. Speaking of which, I don't even know. I was just gonna ask, what do you have anything for tonight? Not that it really matters for the fans out there. And tonight, Penn State Notre Dame game. Do you have anything?
I like the under.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Do you? Okay, nice. Yeah, I got it at the worst absolute line, which pisses me off.
What'd you get?
44.5. And I think it was there for 10 minutes. I think it was the 10 minutes I opened the fucking book. But whatever, dude.
I had it 45.
I know, and it's at 45.5 now. I did also tease Penn State and the under. So I got Penn State plus 7.5, under 51.5. Had both of those.
I have no feel in the game. If I had to choose, I would choose Notre Dame, but that's only because what's his name's a really good big game coach, but I guess Franklin kind of is if the team's worse than him. Marcus Freeman beats. He's a big game coach. He just loses to Northern Illinois and Marshall.
Correct.
So anyway, moving on to something that we can distribute content for, I guess, is Texas versus Ohio State. I believe the line's still sitting around that 6 range, and I haven't seen it budge in days.
Dropped to 5.5 for a split second. That's about it. Otherwise, we've been sitting at 6.
FanDuel has 5.5, believe it or not, there, which is pretty wild. But anyway, if I bet anything here, I've a lot of pros are staying off these games. They're trying to be talked into something from their other professional friends. Is kind of what I've been hearing on the radio and whatnot. And this game opened at 6.5, I believe it was. Is what it opened at here, minus 6.5 for Ohio State. I think, are we knee jerking here because Texas had such a battle with the Arizona State and Ohio State's looks so good? Maybe that's what it's for. If I did any bet, I think I would go for gold and maybe go for the Texas Longhorns money line. You know what I mean? That would be my approach. And I might do that, but this is a lunch money bet. I'm just not touching these. Vegas knows these games. Very NFL playoff-like. We're about to jump into that with the wild card games, right? And this is very playoff-like vibes here. But Sark is a man. I think he's a good coach. So I don't know. Ohio State was very physical against Oregon, and we, obviously we were on Oregon's side there. So, do they bring that same kind of physicality to Texas? And we saw like Georgia actually, one of the games. I just thought they played really well versus Texas in that SEC championship game. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of transpires, but I just think 6 a lot, but at the same token, I could see Texas winning it. So that's why I would say I just go for the value pick. I didn't know if you had any feel on it, but that's just kind of my vibe.
Yeah, I think similar to you. I think you either take Ohio State minus 6 or you take Texas money line. Because if Ohio State plays like they did against Tennessee and Oregon, they're a different team than we saw the last few weeks of the season. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
But if Ohio State is who we thought they were, like weeks 10 through 13, then Texas has a real shot here to win this game. That's where I stand on it, but I don't have like a strong enough feel. The only thing I took on this game is Texas under 23.5 team total. That's what I felt best about. Ohio State's defense is damn good, man.
Yeah.
And we've talked. Quinn Ewers isn't bad, but he's not the 5-star quarterback that he was kind of thought to be.
Heisman candidate going into the year.
Right. Like, he's not that guy. He's not garbage. He's not. I'm not saying that. But when I watch Texas, it's like if they don't get points on their first couple of drives on script with Sark's genius play calling, a lot of the games when they play tough defenses, they cannot get it done. So for me, I like Texas team total under 23.5. If I were like forced to look away, I would almost look at like a first half over, because Ohio State starts strong, Texas starts strong. They both have good play callers, but I'm not going to do that. If anything, maybe if it does start that way, I would look at a live just game under. But right now, I feel best about taking Texas 23 under 23.5. So that's what I have.
Yeah, and you have your team unders have been relatively successful, at least here. I mean, this is a group, I guess, too, that we've hit a few times. So,
man, so
ride that wave, baby, ride that wave. So
I hope we get a competitive game now. Let's or at least keep it competitive till the fourth quarter. I don't want another blowout. I don't know. We'll see though.
And we might not have an SEC champ this year if Texas gets axed as well. So
that's right.
I don't know if I want an all Big Ten final. It doesn't matter to me, I guess. But I mean, it'd be pretty nuts. Ohio State, Penn State, because that would have been. Well, no, it couldn't have been. I was going to say Big Ten championship game, but I guess it should have been the Big Ten championship game, maybe. But either way, Oregon obviously being the number one team, sleeping in there too. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see. Obviously, Ohio State. Penn State, Notre Dame's tonight. So.
I think it would have been really interesting if they didn't seed it the way they did. We're giving Boise State the 3, Arizona State the 4. I think it would have been really interesting to see how these playoffs played out. So I hope next year maybe we get some changes. Still give them that automatic bid, but maybe just seed it as it is. That would be my only beef with the college football playoff. Otherwise, I've loved it. But I just think this playoff could have played out differently, because now we're looking at a point where if it's like Ohio State, Notre Dame, like they're going to be a fucking 10-point favorite in the championship game. Sweet.
Yeah. And I feel like Penn State's playoff just started.
Yes, 100%.
No offense, but I was looking at it, and even off the jump, I was like, Penn State has the easiest road. I mean, like the first SMU Boise State, like, you got to be kidding me. They could sleepwalk here and I guess they kind of felt like they were sleepwalking through the Boise State game most of the time anyway. So now they got to wake up and play at least a physical Notre Dame team at the line, but just not as much firepower, I guess, as some of the other teams they could have played, but. Nonetheless, all right, we got a lot of NFL to cover, so we'll move on to that. So first Saturday, 4:30, I believe it is, Chargers at Texans. I think this one, in terms of outside, I guess, maybe a Vikings at Rams, but I think this one's a little bit more of a closer argument in terms of definitely if you're going to go with the spread vibes on who you would like to take here. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's a little bit tougher, in my opinion, right? Because you got the Chargers come in, but the Texans have been a playoff team, definitely of late, won the division last year, right? So they got a little bit of experience under their belt, but the Chargers and the Harbaugh effect, right? Everybody's kind of vibing with that. I'll let you lead us off because I usually kind of roll right in. But you have anything on the game?
Yeah, I do. Here's the thing about this game. If you look at the price, Chargers favored by 3 at Texans. So that implies a 4.5 or a 5-point better team on a neutral field. They never, ever, ever at any point in the season have the Chargers been rated 4.5 or 5 points better than the Texans, ever. The way they ended the season, I get the line. Like, I understand why it's at 3, because I mean, we've talked about the Texans. We both are like, this team's not very good. So, like, I get the line, but I know pros are looking at this line like, what the fuck? But I have no interest in taking the Texans plus 3. So the way I chose to attack it, I am pairing the Chargers money line with the Ravens money line, because I think they set that Ravens line, at 9.5 to avoid that teaser liability there, because only getting it to 3.5, that's not a good teaser number now. So I think just pairing them both money line, I got it to almost even money, minus 103 for me. Depending on your book, you could even get a plus 100, minus 105, somewhere in that, because I still like the Chargers here. I like the coaching advantage. I like that, or for the Chargers, I like that the Texans only have Nico Collins to throw the football to. When either they need 2 of the receivers, so Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. They need two of those guys. Whenever they have not had two of those receivers, that offense has looked completely different than when they've had two of those guys. So for me, I have no interest in taking the Texans. I don't want the 3, though. I don't want to have to take the -3 with the Chargers. I'll take a money line, pair with the Ravens. Give me something to root for on Saturday.
This is going to be a third straight road game for the Chargers. Does that give you any concern at all for them heading into it, especially with the playoffs here?
Oh, I didn't think about that, but playoffs, I think you throw that shit out the window.
Really?
We've seen the Giants do it. We've seen the Packers do it. Go on these runs where they have 3 tough road games in a row in the playoff. The playoffs is a different ballgame than the regular season in terms of betting, because you look at rest disadvantage, you look at motivation factors, like even pros look at these things. When it comes to the playoff, you kind of throw that out because there is no motivation edge. This is one game season right now. So I think everyone has the same motivation. No one gives a fuck about travel. So for me, I throw it out. I don't know. What do you think, though?
This is third straight road game, also on a short week as well. Playing on Saturday,
but both
Sunday.
teams, short week for both teams.
Both teams, yes. But also the same token, the Texans.
The travel, though. Okay.
Yeah, Texans had they were on the road, obviously, versus the Titans. But yes, anyway, since 2003, teams who are in the third game or later are 45-71 straight up. In terms of road games, right? Third straight game on the road or later, or 45-71, 5-12 last 3 seasons. That's not playoff. That's just all games. That's all games if they're on the third one. So everyone's saying Chargers here, right? Everyone's buying in, and we've seen them definitely in the second half, right? Kind of struggle. But the Texans have also struggled in the second half that I was reading as well. So I don't know how you want to play that. I think that just that's a null, right? That doesn't matter. Chargers have the worst strength of victory amongst every playoff team this year.
Whoa.
They also have the worst strength of schedule. Now, the Texans aren't very far behind them of strength of schedule played. I think Chargers are 28th. Texans are 24th. Again, that's pretty close. So I don't know if you want to throw that out the window as well. I'm going to kind of lean on those kind of numbers with the road a little bit, just a little bit. And home game for the Texans, I like that. And a little bit of experience, I like that. I just think the 3's a little high. That's why I'm saying I kind of compared this to the Vikings-Rams vibe, right? I was a pick'em. Now I know it's shifting a little bit, but this is not a pick'em. This is the 3 points, and the dog is the home team. Yep. So I'm going to lean with a little bit more of experienced squad here. And I like the Texans, and I'm going to go for the value at the money line as well. And I know some pros are on this, not a lot, right? Because I've also heard a lot of pros that like the Chargers as well. So that's why I said this game is probably going to be the most kind of interesting how this shifts, you know what I mean, that we see for this game. But I'm interested to see what happens because that's kind of where I'm leaning. Because I was kind of looking at it, obviously we've had – it's kind of weird I'm saying this because I've kind of been a Texans hater all year, and here they are making the playoffs, right? And obviously Tank Dell's out, so that kind of sucks with that. But anyway, I'm just banking on having a really kind of tired team, and I'm just not. Everyone's a Herbert guy, but me. I just need if he wins this game, all right, I'll kind of settle down a little bit. But Herbert doesn't show me anything really that in terms of winner status. Right.
Wasn't it 2 years ago they went into Jacksonville wildcard game, got up like 30-7, ended up losing?
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years. So they have playoff experience. That was with Brandon Staley as the coach. So I don't know if the experience scares me off, but I will say I agree with you that this price is incorrect. It's an incorrect price.
What would you like to put it? What would be the spread that you would look for that?
To back who?
I'm saying like should be 3 points? Should it be a point? Should it be a pick'em?
I think you should probably put this game at 2.
Really? So get it under that 3 points.
Yeah, I think that's the fair. But again, I feel like the books know the public sentiment. Everyone's so down on the Texans, right? Yeah. And the Harbaugh train, like you said, people love Herbert, but they haven't. They haven't really beaten good teams. So I'm with you, man. Like I think if you take the Texans, I have no argument against that. Because the price is just, it's not like the Texans +3. I think that's a fair number to snag if that's the way you want to go.
Yeah, Herbert, yes, lost 30-31 to the Jacksonville Jaguars in that wild card game. 25 for 43, 273 yards. Did get sacked 3 times. And I was kind of looking at his rushing because sometimes when you're feeling kind of pressure, feeling the heat, do the quarterbacks rush a little bit more maybe in the playoffs? And he only had 3 rushes for 12 yards. So, but did have a fumble. Anyway, Eckler didn't do shit though. 13 for 35, but he did have 2 touchdowns. So maybe an Eckler anytime touchdown could be nice. I don't know. That's just based off the last playoff game that Herbert's been in that they lost. But yeah, classic Chargers in that one, at least for this year, right? Went out 27-7 and lost. So in the first half, it was 27-7, and they only had 3 points in the second half.
That was, that was very Chargers-like at the time.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be interesting to see like a live, in-game live under here. See how that would shake out.
Oh, yeah, I did take, I totally forgot about this. I took the first half under on this game.
Oh, really? As
good
as both teams have been in the first half. You went first half under.
You think they've both been good in the first half?
Right here. Texans dominate the first half ATS. Texans are 13-4 against the first half spread this season.
How about the total, though?
I don't have anything on the total.
Okay,
I was just simply saying that Texans are a better team, but on the first half, but also the Chargers, obviously, what they put up with like 28 or whatever. I don't even remember if it was 28, probably not, against the Bengals in that one game. Mm-hmm. They let them come all the way back. In the second half. So, but Texans home unders though. I know this, since you brought it up, I'll throw that in. They are 7-1 this season, best mark in the NFL for unders this season.
Okay.
Home unders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I totally forgot to bring that up. I talked about the Texans struggles when they only have one of their good receivers. Chargers aren't that good either. They only have Ladd McConkey too. So I could, and then we have Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter coming after Herbert. Their offensive line's good. It's not great. And sometimes full game unders scare me because of the fourth quarter. We talked about this. Fourth quarter scares me. Shit just pops. Weird shit happens. So sometimes I'm just going to take the first half under. So that's how I chose to play this one.
I got you.
It doesn't make me feel good that the Texans are so good first half at home.
Yeah.
Or just on the year.
But I got you. Moving on to the next one, we got Steelers at Ravens. I got my Pittsburgh Pirates and my Pittsburgh Pens hat on. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm supporting the Steelers, but I guess you could take it as such. Sure, whatever. I don't have, I guess, to kind of follow up with, I didn't really have a bet for that Chargers game besides that Texans money line, by the way. I do have that already locked in, but that was just a unit, just to be clear.
Going small.
Because I honestly don't know. That's why the spread's so low. But yeah, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times, being at the Ravens and Steelers, but everyone's pretty damn sure that the Ravens are going to get their job done. Steelers' biggest underdog versus the Ravens, +9 in 2009, +7 in 2024 this year, and then +7 in 2012. So this could be the biggest underdog that Tomlin, obviously, and the Steelers have ever been for the Ravens in their history. So I'd be interested to see how that shakes out. What do you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting game because first thought is Steelers always play the Ravens tough, right? It seems like the Steelers are the one team that know how to slow down Lamar Jackson like consistently. On the other side, the Steelers' offensive regression is a real thing. Like they lived on big plays to George Pickens and that moon ball from Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And it hasn't been working out the last 5 weeks, and they have been pretty piss poor on offense the last 5 weeks. So you have like these 2 angles that are kind of fighting against each other. One is just a history angle that the Steelers and Mike Tomlin always play Lamar Jackson tough. The other one is like, do we trust Pittsburgh's offense? Somehow going to figure it out because they don't have a run game either. The Ravens defense has been trending up since like week 8 or 9 because they had a new defensive coordinator. They lost a lot of their defensive staff this year because they were so good last year. And they started out, if you remember, they were like a pass funnel defense. They fixed that. So I don't think the Steelers can have a ton of success on offense, but I think that the Steelers are going to do on offense to win. So that's why I parlayed the Ravens money line with the Chargers. Is because even if it's a low scoring game, I don't see the Steelers winning because I don't think they score enough points. Now, hearing myself talk, I'm like, why haven't you bet the under? The only reason I haven't bet the under is probably just because I just get scared a little bit by Lamar Jackson, even though the Ravens can consistently stop, or the Steelers do consistently stop him. There's that threat of him going off for 38, and I think last game it went over the total. That's the only reason I haven't bet the under. That's where I'm at, man. Yeah, what are you thinking?
So, does Flowers at all being out for the Ravens concern you at all?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that it's just tough because the Steelers aren't better than the Ravens. I think that's safe to say that.
Yeah.
But when you kind of look at this a little bit deeper, Tomlin's obviously always a good dog, generally speaking. But there's some things that kind of can steer you back towards middle ground at not loving the Ravens here. When Lamar Jackson is favored by more than 3 points in his career, he is 29, 35, and 1 against the spread, and that includes the playoffs.
Okay.
So that kind of steer, and plus, you got Tomlin as an underdog. You got Zay Flowers is out. I don't know if you probably didn't see the Ravens last game. Looked like absolute ass, I thought, for the most part. Yeah, you did. We talked about the bad beat. I thought they didn't look very good against the Browns. I don't know. That was just my opinion. But again, week 18, so a lot of people factor in week 18. I'm going to try not to. But again, Steelers can't run the ball. They have not looked good running the ball. I don't know if you want to say second half of the year. I know Najee Harris had some decent games for fantasy value, but man, he was dropped in a lot of leagues, I think, second half of the year because he just wasn't doing anything. And Warren's a good backup running back. Absolutely. No issues with him, but he's not a bell cow guy, and you're not giving him the rock. So they can't run the football, so it's going to give him issues, I think, to control the game. The thing is, I don't know if I like this at 10, but I don't mind it at 9.5. I don't know. It's just weird, but Tomlin is just, he's 3-14 straight up as an underdog of 7 or more. So obviously, I don't think he's going to be winning the game. He's 1-8 when he's 8 points or more. So this is probably looking like in that pocket. So I don't see the Steelers winning the game. I just don't. No. It's just too many points on the road. All that. They can't run the ball. They can't. I don't know what's up with George Pickens. I know he was injured this year. He had 0 yards with drops in that last game. So I don't know what you're going to get out of him. That's a little worrisome. And if you look at the corners, I know Zay Flowers is out, but if you look at the corners for the Steelers,
bad.
96th ranked for Porter Jr. and 117th for Dante Jackson, and that's almost the last place in graded corner in the NFL. So even with Zay Flowers out, I don't know if it's a big deal. So my thought was Lamar Jackson's at 217.5 passing yards. Any thoughts there? Zay Flowers is out. You want to wait till that maybe gets a little bit lower?
And taking the over?
Yeah.
God, that's no.
It's just gonna be Henry, and that's all they're gonna. It's just gonna hammer him.
No, I think just listening to you and listening to myself, I think I've probably more talked myself into taking an under because I had forgot that Zay Flowers was going to be out this game, and
okay.
he's such a good man beater. And the Steelers have historically, I heard this, played more man defense against Lamar Jackson. Maybe because they have the defensive line that can do it, they can keep him in and not let him go crazy and scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just more thinking the overall game under is kind of what I have talked myself into, and then Ravens just are going to win this game. When you said Ravens minus 9.5, you think taking that number, you like that number?
No.
Okay.
I don't like these numbers that high in the playoffs scare me. I know the favorites are kind of going to be chalk's going to look real good this week, right? But I hate betting against Tomlin. It scares me. I don't know the motivation factor. I don't know. Interesting here, though. I got some stats on Flowers since you brought him up that we might want to throw out here. When Flowers has received 5 targets or fewer in any game, Baltimore is 12-0 straight up, 1-0 straight up in the playoffs.
What?
Not really a factor because we think they're going to win anyway. Right? That's a straight up, right? The biggest change Flowers being out might be for Lamar Jackson, and I'll read this slow. 89 first read or designated targets for Zay Flowers. More than 40 more than the second most, which is Mark Andrews at 48. So is this an Andrews over? You know what I mean? Like, so we're looking at Flowers pretty often here to deliver him the football. With him being out, that could be making it interesting here. Because I was kind of looking when he went out. I did throw a prop, and you tell me your feedback here. When he went out, Derrick Henry had 23 receiving yards last game. And he's actually had that a couple times this season, actually. Do they try to, if they kind of pound it with Henry, do they try to give him some random passing throws to throw it off a little bit once or twice here in this game with Flowers out? Try to mix it up. Just throw different passing attacks at this Steelers defense to try to get some points.
I could see that.
I know that's a stretch, and that kind of turns into a 50-50 because Derrick Henry is not a receiving back by any stretch.
No.
His receiving yards is 5.5.
Really? Yeah. God, what? Okay, I need to look at his full game here. What he does on a game-by-game basis.
Yeah. So last game he had 23.5 receiving yards. 23 receiving yards by halftime. Okay. And I was like, holy smokes! Like, and he's had that a couple times this year. In that, I could bring it up here for you, kind of what we have grading wise. His receiving grade is 75. Now, I know he doesn't get a lot of attempts, which marks 10th amongst running backs this season. Okay. We'll bring up his premium stats here. We'll get a look. Receiving. Here we go. So, he's basically averaging almost a target per game. Every single game.
Yeah, I got this pulled up here.
You got to pull it up. So
yeah, they've been feeding him the rock more the last 5 games through the air. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Prior to the last 5 games, he only had 1 game with more than 1 target. 2 games, I suppose. But the past 5 games, he's had 4 of the 5 with 2 or 3 targets. Very interesting. What happened to their backup?
Oh, Justin Hill, right? No?
Justice Hill.
Hill.
He must be banged up because
I thought he was.
He is, because Keaton Mitchell has been the backup, which did some good things for them last year. But this year, he's only got 1. He's only even been active in 5 games, and he has 1 target in 1 game. Interesting. I think you found a good angle on this. I do. I think you found a really good angle if people want to take a prop here. I love that.
Yeah. Is Justice Hill still out? That's what I'm having issues finding. Here. Sorry, I'm bringing him up now. He did not play week 16, but 7 total snaps. But he has been playing, he's been playing throughout the year. Week 14, they may have had a bye, so that probably doesn't matter. So yeah, I'd be interested to see why Justice Hill did not play in week 16. If we could track that down. Sorry, I didn't mean to be doing research right here in the middle of the podcast. Just to see why he was out. So if Justice Hill returns to practice 2 days ago. Okay, Justice Hill's practicing fully. Okay, so maybe stay away from a Derrick Henry. But even with Justice Hill, he has been getting a target a game.
Yep, and he usually gets that 1 target because it's probably 1 screen a game.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, right? You kind of, he's in the game, you're going to run, or pass block. Because, dude, I kind of watched him pass block in that week 18 game.
Pretty good.
Dude, he ain't bad, bro.
He is. Better than what you would think.
Oh, my. And he grades well. I'm just looking at the grades. He grades well. I was really surprised. Derrick Henry is a solid pass blocker. Anyway, I guess it comes down to that 50-50 bet. Does the 1 target, which most of the times when he gets it and catches it, he goes over the 5 yards.
But this is the 3rd time versus this team. We're in the playoffs now. I think you have to pull some tricks out of your sleeve.
Okay, we got 13.5 yards on that one, and he had 0 targets, 0 receptions in week 11. 50-50. That's what it comes down to. Justice Hill is back.
I still like it. Like it. Yeah, because Patrick Queen sucks as a pass coverage linebacker.
Okay.
He's terrible.
Okay.
All he can do is stop the run and blitz the quarterback. Okay. Otherwise, his game's terrible.
I will not give away my bet that includes a Ravens money line here until we go through some of the more games.
We're going to wait. Okay,
I'm going to wait. Yep.
Okay.
And actually, we'll cover, I believe, the next 2 games. So I'll do it here after the next 2 week over. Okay. Anything else for Steelers Ravens?
That's it. Let's book it.
Okay, let's do it. Broncos at Bills. I think my initial gut reaction, I don't know if I'm just kind of feeling the fact that Sean Payton should probably get some love for Coach of the Year, and the fact that Bo Nix has actually gotten a lot better as the season progresses and whatnot. Feeling that. I love the +8 when it came out, but as you notice, that spread has actually gotten rather. Well, it's gone back down to 8.5. So, okay, all right. So I'm not going to get too crazy, but I actually jumped to liking this a little bit more in terms of against the spread. I have not pulled the trigger on it by any means, mostly because of a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. But what you got?
Yeah. So you text me this number, and I had said early lane Broncos, and you were like, same. And the more and more I thought about it throughout the week, this is a best bet for me on the Broncos.
Oh shit! Okay.
This is probably my favorite bet of the week. Actually, is the Broncos plus. Yeah. Man, Bill's defense has looked shitty towards the end of the year. And sometimes when you do have a +8.5, you're thinking, hey, if that dog gets the ball at the end and they're down 14, can we go get a touchdown? The Bills defense, they're just not very good, man. I'm sorry. So that gives me confidence. But I think more than that, I think the Bills can hang with them here, or the Broncos can hang with them this whole game. I do. I don't even think I have a ton of reasons here. I just like the Broncos. They're a tough defense. Sean Payton, talk about experience. Now, both teams have a ton of playoff experience, coaches-wise. Here would be the one concern. We know how rookie quarterbacks fare in the playoffs, and it's not good. I'd be interested to know if you have a stat, because you're the stat guy. You know all the stats. I don't have it top of my head. I just know rookie quarterbacks making their first start in the playoffs have not fared well. Now, CJ Stroud bucked that trend last year. So not to say they can never win. I'm not saying the Broncos win the football game here. But I do not think this game gets out of hand in any way. I don't think it's going to be too big of a moment. I think Bo Nix just has a personality, man. This is just a feel I get. He just has a personality. He doesn't back down. He doesn't get scared from things. I'm not that guy that's like, oh, Bo Nix is an awesome quarterback. No, Bo Nix has overachieved for being the 6th quarterback taken in the draft as a rookie. He's still an average quarterback. All right. An average quarterback can go in and push the Bills. They can. Or the Broncos. God, Broncos, Bills, Broncos. Yeah, what are we doing here?
I got you.
I can't figure it out here. Anyways, I'll pass it off to you, man. I love the Broncos in this spot. I love it. Even if they're down 21 points, doesn't scare me. Think they can get points here.
So as a favorite, obviously, with the cover of the game that you were just at 10.5, 10 points, doesn't matter. They killed them. The Broncos, in terms of a favorite, are the greatest team of all time against the spread. 8-0 this year is what they got. Now, obviously, they're underdog here, so we can move forward. But Bo Nix is a cover machine, man. 12-5 this year against the spread. Obviously, the favorite obviously was a big part of that, but that's pretty sweet. Nix is only the 4th rookie quarterback to cover 11-plus games in a season in the wild card era, so that's since 1990. Pretty sweet company there. Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Joe Flacco. Have all done that. So, this stat doesn't mean much because it's not against the spread, but it's something to consider if you guys are making bets. Rookie QBs are 5-12 straight up in the playoffs since 2010, but a little bit better recently because I'm about to name 2 guys that I understand we have our reservations about CJ Stroud, but they're 2-2 straight up. CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy have those 2 dubs straight up as rookie quarterbacks starting in playoffs, right? And those guys, generally speaking, have still gone on to be solid ballers. You know what I mean? So, but I think this number's a bit too high. I just think a lot of people love the Bills. One thing I didn't know, they have the 21st strength of schedule played. They actually are atrocious as well. You were just kind of talking about their defense. Bills' defensive struggles since week 9, really. So I guess kind of you want to go middle to later part in the year. 30th in success rate, 30th in EPA per drop back and dead last, 32nd in drop back success rate since week 9.
Yikes.
So pass defense is bad. EPA per drop back is dead last. Drop back success rate is 32nd. And just a general 30th in success rate. So there's a lot there to handle. Either way, since week 9, I looked at it. Bo Nix's passer rating cleans at 103.1. He doesn't turn the ball over. Turnover-worthy play percentages for him is only at 1.91. Obviously, how you lose games, especially as a rookie in the playoffs, would I would assume he'd turn the ball over. The number's pretty high. 8.5, 9. I would definitely. I just don't. Do you see the Broncos possibly winning this game?
I wouldn't count it out. I don't think they win. I'm not going to bet them, but I'm not going to discount them like I am the Steelers.
Okay.
What do you think?
I do not like that. I think the Bills are a good enough team, especially on offense, to make this happen, to win the game. Right. The only thing is the Broncos can't run the football very well. Right. So I just think that a lot of times when you want to control the game, you play good defense and you run the football, they're going to rely on Bo Nix a lot. I understand we've had a lot of issues here with the Bills D, but let's be real. You got Josh Allen on the other side, who's the favorite for MVP to kind of sling and go win them one if they need to. They might be able to slip by the Broncos here, but I don't know if they'll be able to slip by the next team with this poor of a defense. Right.
Yeah, right. Especially if we do get the Ravens, which the Ravens already beat their ass earlier in the year too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's going to have to carry the team like he does every single game and every single playoff game. Poor guy.
That's the thing. As a favorite of 7.5 or more at home, Josh Allen is 23-1 straight up in his career. I don't even know who the one loss is to. Oh, Russell Wilson and the Broncos last season.
No way.
Swear to God.
Whoa.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of random shit if you read this stuff that kind of makes you really like the Broncos.
Can I ask where are you reading some of this stuff? Do you get a lot of bison or?
No. Action always every week releases all the best trends and previews for every single game.
I should have known it was Action.
I just want to know how they get all this shit.
Seriously?
Who's releasing this info? Because I know they don't have enough time to look all that up. Now, I do know this.
Well, they probably do. They probably have one guy.
They have their resource that when you go to the it's like 204, it's like 120 a month, but you can put any scenario in to their like calculator and it'll spit out. So you could do like what I just said. Wow. You could do favored by 7.5 or more, Allen playoff game last 25 years, right? And it'll spit out that number. Right. So they can like put all of that stuff in. You can do rookie quarterbacks over 7.5 against the spread, getting money. What's the record? Like you could spit all of that out. It's pretty sweet. It's their system. Like you can create your own system betting through their tool. That's why it's 120 a month.
Yeah.
Because I looked at getting it. And I was like, I can't afford that.
Yeah. If I didn't have a full-time job and like a social life.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds so fun like to do that, but it's like I can only pick and choose so many things in my life, but Action's nice, man. Okay. I just wanted to have even kind of tease our listeners of where you're getting all this.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, every week they do it. It's free. I don't have Action Pro, so that's a free article that you can read, and it's got a lot of more stuff than I name. I skim over a lot of it just to give you the good tidbits. So anyway, back to it. I like this. I might piggyback. Maybe I shouldn't, so you actually win. I might piggyback this Broncos bet more and more in terms of against the spread. I just don't like it straight up. I think that's a little bit more big dick energy than I'm willing to show.
Yeah, because Josh Allen at the end of the game, let's be real, if he gets the ball last, he's a killer, man. We've seen it before, so I think you're right there. Yeah.
That's the thing. I like that a lot better. Okay.
Last thing before we move on, because I do want to get going here. But as I was looking around, the Broncos linebackers suck, both of them.
Yeah.
Out of 64 linebackers, they're both rated 50th or worse in pass coverage grade. So I really was just looking, hey, what have other teams' tight ends done against them? Because Dalton Kincaid, his number's 34.5. You go look at his numbers, probably 50-50 that he gets there. But you go look at the Broncos' last 4 games, same like 3 of the past 4 games, the tight ends have gotten over that number. But I think Kincaid might be away because you got Patrick Surtain here. I don't know who he's going to lock down because you don't have like a stud receiver for the Bills, but he's probably going to lock down to somebody that he's on. I think Kincaid could get some extra look. Just wanted to throw that out before we move on. Him as a prop, maybe worth looking at. I think I'm going to look at it deeper.
Any concern with him coming off injury? I know it's been a few weeks since then, so you could probably table that. But obviously, he came back in week 15. But any concerns there, you think?
No, because they rested him last week, so I think he's good. Because they had a chance to rest him last week because they had nothing to play for.
Yeah, I was looking at he gets a good bit of target, but he just doesn't pull him in. But then again, he only has 2 drops on the year, so that's just not a really concern. So he's definitely guarded pretty closely. Would you say it was a 35? Am I getting that right?
34.5.
34.5. Oof. I don't know. I think that's a no for me. If anything, I think I would lead under, actually.
Would you?
I
disagree.
So. Really? Yeah. Now, Dalton Kincaid's a solid tight end by all means, so that's not a knock on him. I'm just saying, I just don't know if I like that or not.
You don't like the look. That's fair.
So that means you should love it and you should bet it.
No, I'm going to.
Anyways, Packers versus Eagles is your next one. Sunday at 4:30 will be this one. This one's kind of weird. Jordan Love's banged up. Jalen Hurts is a concussion protocol. I think it's so weird. I mean, I was hearing Sal Paolantonio earlier today, or was it today or yesterday? I don't know. He did an interview that I heard was saying that his hand injury really is going to contribute to his lack of accuracy, most likely, if there's anything that is affected. So that's a little concerning. We have concussion protocol with Hurts. He's been out the last 2 weeks, I believe, and we've always seen the first game back from quarterbacks, and the concussion protocol are a little bit rough. So those two things really kind of scared me of this game in general, because that means what are you going to get here? You know what I mean? Like that. And plus, there's been some talk what if Hurts doesn't go, which I do expect him to. Which quarterback do you start? You start Pickett, or you start the kid who threw his first touchdown pass or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's interesting there. All right. Anyway, I'm expecting both to play. We're going to do our thing. But I would probably lean a little bit there towards the under, actually. The under 45 is what I got it out, because I think you're going to struggle here a little bit with Hurts. What are you going to get out of him? Plus, if we have no accuracy with Jordan Love, plus, aren't they really banged up in the receiving core as well?
Christian Watson went on IR.
That's right. So that's huge. I don't know. I just have a lot of questions there. What kind of offense are we going to get here by both sides? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I went under 45 there. Plus the weather is, it's Philly weather. Over 10 mile an hour winds. You could get some light snow. I'm not worried about that. There's not going to be any accumulation. So that's why I was like, the weather could play a little bit of a factor, especially when it's cold. You got a little bit of injury going on, so that could factor into it. So I say all that to say, here's what I got. Here's my question before you go. Sorry, I kind of took it away. Who loses out of Ravens, Bills, Eagles game here? Who loses out of those 3?
Eagles.
Man, that's been the most popular pick of that money line. That money line parlay, right, is Ravens, Bills, Eagles is plus 109 on my book.
Okay.
That's the best bet of the week.
That's what you like.
That's what I love.
You don't like it. You love it.
Yeah, because
no concern here then.
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm asking you. That was a question. Sorry. No concern about the Eagles then.
I don't. Well,
there's always concern, but healthy, I guess.
If Love was healthier, I would. Yes, there's a concern, but his injury kind of scares me a little bit. I know he's limited at practice, I think is what I saw. So that kind of concerns me. It hurts. Is not a participant, but he's visiting practice. He's not been cleared.
Play. He's going to play. Let's be real.
So here's the thing. You still got Saquon. You still got A.J. Brown. Goddard's back. That's a tough offense.
Monte Smith.
That's a tough offense to go against, man. I'm sorry.
Top 3 offensive line in the NFL.
I mean, and that's just really tough. They're going to score points even with the Hurts that's coming off a concussion. And the Eagles, they got a D-line that can get after the quarterback. Sweat's a good baller. Collar's a good baller. And they have two rookie corners, the Jean and the kid from Toledo, that are pretty solid too. So, what's a kid? Quinyon Mitchell. Jeez, it took me a minute. I can't find a bet for the Packers, although I've been a proponent of Love. I think he can win a Super Bowl for a team. He's got a gunslinger vibe at times, but I heard someone say this the other day, I like this Packers team, but their ceiling, we rarely see it.
Yes.
And that could be because of injuries as well, right? Wasn't the Eagles game, the game that they played early in the year that Love got injured? Wasn't that week 2 or week 1?
Well, these teams played week 1 in Brazil.
That's it. And what's his name got injured?
Love got injured at like on the Hail Mary play or something, right?
Correct.
Like it was at the very, very end.
Very end. And everybody was like, oh, he's out for the year. And then he came back like 3 weeks later or whatever it was. Anyway.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, I just, there's a lot of arguments you can make for the Eagles and not as many you can make for the Packers. So that's why I think this money line is so good in terms of this parlay because, like, I don't know. What you got?
Man, this was probably the toughest game for me where I have like the least amount of opinions. Well, this and the Vikings Rams game. But very tough for me because I remember that week 1 game. We were like, what a sloppy fucking game. And it was, dude. It was bad. It was so bad. Ever since then, though, we have seen the Eagles defense stiffen up, which makes sense. Vic Fangio, first season as the defensive coordinator. It's been known he runs a complicated system. He had those 2 rookie cornerbacks that you talked about. Eagles defense has come on strong. And I'm going this because the only bet I'm going to make on the game is up with this. Packers, inconsistent. Yes, Jordan Love can air it out. Injured, like you said, we don't know what we're going to get. He likes to chuck that ball, man. He's not really a game manager type. And I think he relies a lot on Matt LaFleur to dial up good play action and get guys open. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback at all, but I think he needs that help. And then he wants to chuck it downfield. I don't think you're going to do that against Vic Fangio's defense. They blitz the 3rd least amount of any team in the NFL. Vic Fangio does this year. So I don't think you're going to have guys running around in the secondary. I think they're going to be able to sit back, play his zone defense, confuse him. I'm still torn on the side just because of what we've seen from the Packers late last year. And then up until a couple weeks ago, what we saw, how they were trending this year. So I'm so torn on a side. So I'm not even going to bet it. I don't have an opinion. I have no way to fill. What I like is the under on the game. For every reason that I said there. Because Jalen Hurts coming back, is he rusty? Probably. I would guess so. I know they have tons of playmakers and a good line, but the Packers defenses, they're no scrubs either. You know, they've struggled when they have gone up in class, but not like terrible. You know, like they've still held some teams that can play football to like lower points. I mean, I know they gave up 27 to the Vikings here recently. They held the Niners to 10 points when they actually had people. The Lions to 24, which is saying something. Anyways, the only thing I feel good on this game is the under, man. It's the only opinion I have. I'm just interested to watch this game because I'm like, I don't know how it's going to go. There's so many unknowns in this game for me, especially with both quarterbacks. Like they're going to play, but I just don't know what we're going to get from them. But I think you're right. You can feel better about the Eagles because they have so many playmakers and a good line. I think you can feel better since that's the angle you like.
So one thing I did, and I was wondering what your feel would be on this. Jalen Hurts obviously has only 3 games either at neutral site or at home in the playoffs in his career. Right, 2021 was at Tampa. They got throttled, but that was when he was relatively a new starter in the league.
That's when he still sucked and couldn't throw the football.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. And that was Tom Brady year too. And then also last season, also against Tampa Bay, which he also they also got throttled, but he actually played okay. So the year that when they went to the Super Bowl was the year that he actually had his 2 home games and then 1 neutral site be in the Super Bowl. He scored 38, 31, and 35 points.
Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator, though. I think that matters.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm not trying to like defute you, but I think that mattered because he dropped off, not significantly, but he wasn't as good last year. And he's kind of rebounded a little bit this year, but I haven't seen that form from 2 years ago for that Super Bowl.
Totally agree with that. I agree with that. But do you like the Eagles to win the game?
Probably. I think you made some good points.
Okay.
That talked me into it because I was really torn and I just didn't know what I thought. But I think listening to you probably talked me in that I do like them to win the game. I don't know if I'm going to bet it still. But yeah, I don't trust the Packers and Jordan Love enough.
I know. I'm not ready to do that either. I want to, though. Eagles, strength of schedule played this season is 30th. I don't know if you want to consider that. And then Packers are 11th. So something to consider there. But, yeah. I don't know. I still like the kind of under there. I'm just saying.
I very much like the under.
So, all right, moving on. Commanders at Buccaneers here. Man, the Bucs at home, man, our playoffs are pretty nice. But anyway, what you got in this? Anything good? Anything juicy? I know I was going to say I could bring up the spread on this. Move it down a little bit. There we go. 3. Still 3. All books. Spread.
All books are still at 3.
All books. Commanders.
Sweet. Have we had movement on this? No, it's just been stuck at 3.
I haven't seen anything under than 3. If it has, it came back. That's me personally, though.
No, and I'm looking at PFF. It says the same thing. It's never moved. I've only seen it at 3 myself.
Okay.
Interesting part here. Commanders are taking 75% of the bets and 85% of the money. What the fuck for?
Wow.
What the fuck for? Makes no sense to me. Best bet for me is Bucks -3.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, they've had they've had a pretty easy strength of schedule coming down the road. If you look at the Buccaneers, I'll say this is like the only counter against, like, since they've gone on the winning streak, the only counter against my best bet. They beat the Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, lost to the Cowboys, beat the Panthers again, and the Saints. It's like, who have we beaten? These teams did play week 1. Bucks beat their ass 37-20. You could say, oh, Jane Daniels' first start. Like, okay, did that matter? Like, though, because Jane Daniels started the year hot.
And the Commanders were a division favorite through 6 games.
Yes. I mean, in week 3, they put up 38 against the Bengals. Obviously not a great defense, but 42 against the Cardinals, 34 against the Browns, 23 against the Ravens, 40. Then they dropped off. Anyway, but so the only point in saying that is, like, Jaden Daniels was hot. So I don't think you can be like, oh, that was his first game. Like, that doesn't count. Cliff Kingsbury factor. I don't think their offense is completely dropped off like he's done historically with his offenses, Right. I think they've held true, but I mean, what do you think? I think Jaden Daniels has come a little bit down to earth in the last 6 weeks. I know they've been winning football games, but what is your thought on that?
Man, I think he's been inconsistent. I mean, overall, yes, I think he got figured out a little bit, especially on how to defend him against the run, I guess, kind of, so to speak. I guess, you know what I mean? Because he had a lot of first down runs there early in the year. And I feel like as time went on, they got a little bit better as the season progressed. I'll say this.
Okay.
I think he's going to feel the heat to win this game. I could see him scrambling a lot more than you think.
Is that good or bad?
That's an over on rushing yards is what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's sitting at 47.5. I already took it. So let me see what I got it at. 47.5 still where it's at. He had 88 in the first game. Now, I throw out the first game, especially with a rookie quarterback. So much has changed. So much has been learned. He's probably going to run the first game more anyway because he's a hell of an athlete. And you know what I mean? You're going to do what you're strong at, what you think your strength is, especially on game 1 when you're feeling the heat. So that's why I think he'll go over on rushing because he'll try to make stuff happen. Winfield's back for this game for the Bucs.
Yep.
He's been out for a while. I don't think that's a huge difference. We've seen him out before, and they've still played well. I think our survivor loss, he was out in the Bucs defense.
Yes,
that was a bad loss. I think the Lions still played better than them, but anyway, nonetheless, moving on.
They did.
So, one thing that's kind of interesting, I do remember because I watch a lot of Buccaneers games, and I do remember them saying this like halfway through the year. But the first drive of the game by the Buccaneers, they're like one of the best in the NFL. Their 11 scores on first drives are tied for the most in the NFL, and 8 TDs are also tied for the most in the NFL on the first drive of the game. It's pretty insane. The Buccaneers.
Liam Cohen's a big reason for that, right?
I would say so. Plus, I mean, you got an experienced quarterback. Also, you got a touchdown machine kind of in Mike Evans. I know he's been out a lot too, so I don't know how much that factors in. The only thing is that I get a little worried about, and it's not like because you can throw on this. I almost said it. You can throw on this Commanders defense. We've seen that, and I think they'll do that. It's just we don't want to see Mayfield turn the ball over, right? If you look at him, a lot of turnover-worthy percentage plays that he has.
Totally.
So that's what worries me. I think that's what makes this spread kind of interesting. 3.61 percentage of turnover-worthy plays. Now, with that said, Commanders have almost one of the worst strength of schedule played this year. Buccaneers, obviously at home in playoff games, we've seen them throttle in the wild card round before, right? Kill it. Um, do you want to bet against Daniels here? Like that's what's always tough with me. Does he make shit happen? Does he make it look good? I don't like any bet in this game besides the Daniels 47.5 over rushing yards. That's where I'm at.
Okay, that's where you're at. Okay, yeah, I think a couple other points. So you brought brought up that Winfield's coming back. I think that could be a little bit meaningful. Like we've seen him in the postseason be good because I like that. But on the flip side, Marshawn Lattimore is supposed to be back for Washington. It's the only thing that scares me as far as taking Bucks -3, because Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, we all know that history, right, with the Saints, and it seemed like Lattimore shut him the hell down, didn't it? Like he could shut Evans a little bit. That was my perception. I don't have the stats to back that up. But I think looking at this Washington defensive line.
Yeah,
they're not very good against.
They're not. They have one player, and he's ish. He's fine. Clarence Armstrong, right?
And if you give Baker Mayfield time, I mean, he's been lighting it up this year. The last 2 years, really. Yep. He's been lighting it up, and I'm glad you brought that first drive thing up because I think Liam Cohen's going to be a hot candidate for a head coach next year. Unfortunately for Baker, because that guy changes coordinators every single year.
I know
his entire career.
I know.
Like it's insane. But so I'm just bullish on this Bucs team, man, because I don't think the Bucs run defense is so good. I think they're going to have to rely on Jaden Daniels, and that's a lot to put on a rookie quarterback. So that supports your angle of taking his over rushing, though. Like, I really like that after you saying that, and then me being like, or thinking about it and being like, yeah, the best thing the Bucs defense does is shut down the opposing team's run.
Yes.
And so I think they're going to put it on his shoulders. He's going to look to run more. Here's another interesting thing. Austin Eckler came back last week for his first game in a little over a month. I actually took his over receiving prop 18.5. Now it's hard to go back and look because he was out for like a month. But the guy was getting a good amount of targets. Like he was getting 3 targets a game receiving. So I think Jaden Daniels might look at him too. And he hasn't been listed. Like Brian Thomas was the starter and he was still spelling Brian Thomas. Yeah. And now they have him listed as the starter. And I don't know if Brian Thomas is injured or if he's just kind of gone downhill a little bit. I don't see an injury designation to him. But I've read some stuff from other pros saying Brian Thomas has kind of gone down a little bit. So I will also like Austin Eckler over 18.5 receiving yards. Really bullish on the Bucs -3 here.
So with Lattimore coming back, right, does that make you shift to maybe, the kind of newcomer that's really caught on here since probably week 14, Jalen McMillan, receiving yards at 50.5, had 74 and 18, week 18, sorry, 51 versus Carolina in 17 and 57 versus Dallas in week 16. He's averaging between 6 and 7 targets per game since week 14.
What's his receptions at?
Basically 5. In week 14, he had 4.
I mean, like the reception line.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I guess I could pull that up too.
Sorry, 4.5.
Okay. I was thinking if that was like 4 or 3.5, I'd hammer that over the yards.
I'm assuming since Lattimore's back, they're kind of knocking down a couple of these props here a little bit.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that, McMillan. That's a good point because I was thinking Evans under, but McMillan has been coming on and looking pretty good. That's actually a good little angle.
He's on a TD streak since week 14, bro. Every game has had a touchdown. That's pretty wild streak.
That is.
For a rookie, too.
Yeah.
Damn.
It is.
Yeah, he had... Dude, dang. That's pretty... shoot. I think something's there with McMillan. It's just, what is it? Is it anytime touchdown? You know what I mean? Is it is it receiving yards? Is it receptions? He's averaging the last 4 games. Is it 5 receptions? Because that's at plus 120 is 4.5 over 4.5 plus 120. Something to think about.
It's a plus number.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Something there. I just don't know what it is. Something to take a look at, I think. Especially with Lattimore back, I'm assuming he'll want Evans. He'll want Evans.
Yes, 100%. You know he's going to.
There you go.
You know he's going to. Yeah, and it's not like the Washington defense has other guys in their secondary. Yeah, their other guys are graded pretty fucking bad.
I mean, you got to look at the snaps that McMillan's getting to now. It's pretty nice. But anyway, something to take a look at there, I think, as we move forward.
So, yeah, I think that's a good point. I hadn't looked at that, so that's where I'm like, but I think you're going to make me look at that a little bit further now.
Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on. Vikings at Rams. I think this is the craziest one that's kind of, and then this might not even be at the home field here. We'll see how that changes. I think a lot of maybe some week 18 knee-jerk reaction too with how poorly the Vikings has looked. But Vikings at Ram Monday night, we're assuming it's at SoFi. What you got?
You want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure.
This is like the Eagles-Packers where I do not have a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah, like I said, knee-jerk reaction, I think, for week 18 with the Vikings. I know Donald probably didn't look too well. Didn't look too good. But so I like the Vikings heading into this. I was hoping to get it when it was at a pick'em. I have not gotten it yet. I don't know if it's going to shift back. I'm interested to see if the game is moved. Where that shifts, I'm assuming that probably goes back to maybe a 2.5, maybe, if the game is moved.
Vikings?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Because and then it won't be a true home field advantage, for the Los Angeles Rams if the game's moved to Glendale, Arizona. So I'll be interested to see. But I think, it's prime. The only thing is it kind of stinks, right? The Rams, we have Stafford. We got some experience there on the Rams side of the ball. Plus, he's kind of coming in as an underdog. I mean, you got Sean McVay coming in as an underdog. It kind of scares you a little bit. But I think that this is probably priced right. Pick them 1.5, 1, whatever it may be. I just think but it's just the Vikings have been probably the most surprising team all year. O'Connell's going to win Coach of the Year. We've consistently want to go against the Vikings all year. I'm not prepared to do that again. You know what I mean? Like, just based on everything that they've done this season, I think we got to give them a playoff win here. You know what I mean? Especially coming off this historic season they've had. I just think there's a lot kind of goes for them. Now, I don't know if I'd put them in a win beyond this by any stretch, but
agreed.
I'm leaning Viking. I'm not going to have a bet on the game. Let me just make this clear. Not going to have a bet on the game. If I did, I would love to get a plus money line down there for the Vikings. I don't think I'll get it, especially if the game's moved. So I'm going to stay off of this just because there's a lot of crazy variables that are positives for both teams, right? Stafford, McVay, Vikings historic year. Donald's better than he looked in week 18. They're actually not a bad team in general, obviously speaking. So I don't know. What you got?
I think the best thing you said is the knee-jerk reaction. I think this is because all the media, the easy talking heads have been like, oh, Darnold's seeing ghost again. It was one fucking game, man.
Yeah.
And you could tell early in that game, he was just overthrowing everybody. Like, he was juiced, man. He was juiced. Do we see that, Sam Darnold? I'm not going to say we do. And if we don't, the Vikings are the better football team here. The other thing to consider, Vikings lost to 2 teams this year. That's it. One being the Rams, the other being the Lions, who they lost to twice. They played the Rams on a short week. I remember going into the week, like, I think I bet the Vikings, or I at least picked them in like the pick'em league that I do, where I pick every game against the spread.
Yeah.
Because Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were still out.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I turn the game on and they're fucking both playing and balling. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is this, Rams?
Yeah.
They didn't practice all week. You said they had no chance of playing. And I only bring that up because Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, came out this week and admitted, like, we did not practice against them to game plan against those guys. And the Vikings, we know they're a blitz-heavy team. The Vikings blitzed. Matthew Stafford is a pro. He gets the ball out quickly, and they just ate the Vikings up because they got the ball out quick. Blitzes could never get there. I think, one, the knee-jerk reaction to Sam Darnold having a bad game and the Vikings kind of getting ripped on by the Lions, and Brian Flores hopefully adjusting his game plan here and knowing you got to take away the quick throws from Stafford in this game. That makes me favor the Vikings, actually. That makes me, now I do not have a bet on the game. If I do, it'll be a lunch money just because this is kind of an opinion and a coin flip thing.
Yeah.
But I actually like, and I wonder if the Rams are, I don't know what the fire is going on. I don't know how if it affects them if they're close. I don't know. I don't fucking know geography that well of LA.
Yeah.
But like if they have to move, I don't know. That could be something. It's not going to impact the Vikings. I'll tell you that. Like, it's a small thing. It's still a playoff game. I talked about this. I don't think there's like a motivation edge when you get in the playoff spot. But I think that's something. And there's no home field advantage. And if you're telling me the Vikings are only 1 point better than the Rams after all the data points this year, I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. So I wouldn't mind trying to snag the Vikings now because I wonder if pros are kind of taking their time and maybe this does get up to 2.5, like you said. So I think if you do like the Vikings, you take them now. If you like the Rams, you wait. Yeah, that's really all I got on the game. Nothing more in depth, but just a couple things there that you said that like made me kind of rethink. I'm like, I think I actually like the Vikings in this game.
Yeah, I mean, shit, even if the spread goes a 1.5, money line gets juicy for the Rams. I don't know if that shifts it at all. I'm probably staying away nonetheless, and then just kind of
enjoy the game,
just enjoying the ride, my friend. That's all I'm gonna do. Just
because that's fair.
It's a bit, it's a bit risky when you kind of start playing around with that. You know what I mean? That's all. But anyway, all right. You ready to do best bets?
Let's do it.
All right. I only got one. It counts as one. Ravens, Bills, Eagles, money line parlay. Not a parlay guy. I actually got asked that today. What's a parlay you can give me that's going to win me some money? I said I don't do parlays. I'm not a good person to ask, but all my buddies do, so you might want to ask them. You are not included, I guess. You don't really do them either. You do teasers, I think, is more of your spin.
Teasers. I do parlays because they're kind of fun, but like if you look at unit size, it's like 0.2 units.
Yeah.
Because they're fun bets for me.
I just have a hard time seeing who loses out of these three teams. Now, usually when that goes too good to be true, there's a team that's going to lose. We kind of went over the Bills as a possibility, crazy enough. Eagles, obviously, is a possibility, crazy enough. Ravens, I think that's the one team that's not. But you know how this goes. It's the team that you think is a quote-unquote fake lock that is the team that always makes it close, right? That's kind of how it ends up shaking out, but we'll see what happens. Is your slot updated? I haven't even looked.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Buckets.
Good. I saw you did that parlay, though, and I was like, oh, coming out with the parlay and the favorites parlay. That is not Ox at all.
That's not me. I know, I'm scared.
That is not you. But that's, I mean, we did, like, the Ravens. We think there's no chance. Josh Allen, if he has the ball last, even if it's a close game, we like that. Eagles, you made some good points. It's still 3 games. It's very hard to hit.
I know.
Because it's 3 games. It's so hard, dude, in the NFL.
I know.
I've got a plethora of bets here.
Mm-hmm.
I went fucking wild, dude. I love the playoffs. I will have so many bets this week.
I can't tell. Yeah.
Chargers, Texans, under 21.5 first half. Talked about it. Just think both offenses aren't that good. Slow start. Whatever. Broncos plus 8.5 for the Bills. I mean, we talked about these, so I'm going to run through. These are just my favorites. Moneyline parlay. So I did one myself. I kept it a little smaller. I just did the Chargers and the Ravens. This was part because I wanted action on Saturday's games, and I didn't know what to do with the Ravens. And so I was like, who can I just put them with and not have to tease it down? And I was like, I'm going to do the Chargers. The number is too big, yes, but like I like the spot for the Chargers. I don't care. I like Jim Harbaugh. CJ Stroud doesn't have anybody to throw the football to. And then Eckler over 18.5. This is kind of a coin flip, like I've talked about with a couple other bets, that I know you've hammered me on, just because he has not played very much recently. But if you go back and look, one, he's listed as the starter this game, which he has not been most of this year, if any. And 2, there's not going to be much running for them. And you can't put everything on Jaden Daniels. You can't put everything. Yeah, he may hit that rushing prop too, but I think he's going to have to get some dump offs to Austin Eckler. So, love that one.
All right. You've heard it here first. Best bets. And we'll see what will come out the other end. All right.
Sir.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.